Well, howdy there, Pi Pals. How you doing? Okay, this is old Holy Smokin' Pi Padre, and I'm going to talk to you. Uh, let's see. I'm going to make sure I get this right here. I'm going to talk to you today about the Apple Watch. Can I do this? There we go. My Apple Watch. Okay. Now, I've had a week with the Apple Watch, and I want to say right off the bat, this is not a video about the functionality of the Apple Watch. I'll put a couple of really excellent videos down below if you're just wanting the basics of the functionality and some tips and tricks for the Apple Watch. So get that cleared up right away. So that way you don't sit there waiting for me to stop yammering on about my little editorial here about the Apple Watch and waiting for me to actually do a demonstration. That will not be happening in this video. So again, if you're interested in just basic functionality, check out the two videos I'm going to put in the sand bucket below. That being said, let me ask a few questions about the new wonderful gizmo, the Apple Watch. Not the iWatch, but the Apple Watch. Is the Apple Watch a revolutionary piece of technology? No. Is the Apple Watch a very pricey piece of technology? Mm-hmm. Is there a learning curve to learning the new Watch OS? And is there some frustration acquainted with that? Yes, there is. And finally, the question is, do you need this new piece of technology that Apple is offering in its stable of fine products? Probably not. But this is where it gets interesting. I've seen a lot of videos of people who will run through the functionality of the Apple Watch and talk about their experience and their general impressions, and everybody's free to their own opinion. And so I thought I'd just do this real short, simple video about what I think is kind of missing from the debate, or at least the dialogue or the discussions that go on about the Apple Watch. Again, there's nothing innovative really about the Apple Watch. But then again, let me submit to you, there is really nothing innovative about the iPod. Now, some people say, yeah, but it was revolutionary the way Steve Jobs designed it with the interface that made it so revolutionary. And that's true. But, you know, again, I think a lot of people have been kind of underwhelmed by the Apple Watch. Now, in some ways, I think Apple is to kind of, whether they're to blame for it or they're responsible for it, certainly responsible, but it was the way they kind of marketed the Apple Watch, which I think was completely different than the other things like iPhones, iPads, iPods, iMacs, you know, whatever the latest, you know, great, flavor of the month was from Apple. You know, again, gone this time were the lines of people, thousands of people standing in line, you know, just waiting to get their hands on this, you know, must-have Apple device. Apple didn't do it this way this time. In fact, there was a report about how the iWatch's dismal sales. Well, again, I don't know exactly what Apple's up to. Tim Cook didn't call me this week and give me a rundown, nor did he even consult me. Can you imagine? He didn't even consult me about the Apple Watch. I'm a little bit hurt about that, Tim. So if you're watching, you know, naughty boy. But the thing is, that what they did was they I don't know exactly what it was they were thinking, but they did a whole different promotional style. This whole release thing was just absolutely, completely the antithesis of what we normally see. We normally see, you know, them, you know, stockpiling on that day to open the doors so people can come in like a shark feeding frenzy and get their latest Apple fix. Okay, well, that didn't happen. I got my Apple Watch a week ago today only because they actually started truly selling them for people that were walk-in customers. For the last several months, you had to arrange an appointment to talk with an Apple specialist or genius, I guess that's what they call them. You had to go in and they were going to basically, it's almost like going in and listening to a talk about a timeshare. Kind of an interesting concept, a timeshare, a timepiece. Maybe that's what they were going with it, because they wanted, there's for some reason, again, I'm only speculating at this point, they're seeding the consumer grounds with people who are going to have, I think, and I have to say I'm one of them, of having a positive experience with this new Apple device. So again, it was a completely different release strategy. That's one thing that I would say that really kind of caught people off guard. Just again, think back to when the iPhone 6 came out and the 6 Plus came out, just lines of people, trying to get their hands on this new gadget. Well, that just didn't happen. You couldn't go to an Apple store and say, hey, I'd like to buy a watch. You could make an appointment to talk to somebody about ordering one, but not really walking in like I did a week ago and being able to walk in and say, I want to buy an Apple Watch. Sure, right this way. That didn't happen until just 2 weeks ago. Okay, the other thing I wanted to say is that I started off with asking you some questions about, the Apple Watch. Excuse me, I'm going to rest my hand there just for a second. My little thumb is getting sore. I'm getting a blister on my thumb. Holding my iPhone 6 Plus here, which I really love too. So the thing that a lot of people will talk about in many great videos when they're talking about their experience with the Apple Watch. Again, I forgot to mention durability is another concept that a lot of people are looking at the Apple Watch. And surprisingly, the Apple Watch is extremely durable. Even though it's not waterproof, it is extremely water resistant. So that's an amazing thing. So you could actually go for a walk, and if it started raining on you, you wouldn't hurt your watch. Okay, if you got somebody did an ice bucket challenge over your head, you wouldn't have to worry about the watch being harmed. It's pretty durable. I haven't worn a watch. This is another thing for me, a positive, is I haven't worn a watch in years. I would wear a watch when I was in the military. Again, that was before the advent of, smart technology. So again, having a nice watch that had a kind of like a stopwatch on it, a chronograph watch, was a good piece of equipment to have. But when I got back into civilian life, I didn't find myself wearing a watch that much. I didn't like the feel. Excuse me. I didn't like the feel of a watch on my wrist, especially during summertime. I just, it was kind of a nuisance, and I've never been into fashion statements. So it's not about a fashion statement. It was about something that was practical, something that I was going to use. So in the military, you gotta pretty much know what time it is all the time. And so, that's why I wore a watch back then. But now with the advent of smartphones, again, I was thinking myself, why would I need an Apple Watch when I got an Apple iPhone, that tells the time? Look at the time right now. Hey, so why would I need a watch to tell me the same thing? Well, here's the thing that I wanted to say that I think is missing from the discussion. People talk about the advantages of the Apple Watch. They talk about the disadvantages. They talk about the pros. They talk about the cons. They talk about the reasons to buy a watch and the reasons not to buy a watch. But I would submit that one thing is being kind of overlooked, and that is simply this. Should you get an Apple Watch? I say yes, and you want to know why? Because they're fun. The Apple Watch is fun. Is it again revolutionary? No, not really. Innovative? Not really. Is it expensive? Yes. Is there a learning curve? Yes. But the one thing that people don't talk about is this fun factor that really captivates you. Once you get one, and I think this is the secret to a lot of Apple products, in theory, you can simply say, I don't need that. Or that doesn't sound very, helpful or necessary. True. The experience that I had with the iPad was for about 1.5 years. I just resisted getting one. My thought was, well, I have a Mac Pro on my desk. I have even a MacBook Pro. So if I needed to go somewhere and take my work with me to the office or on a retreat, yeah, I could do that, not a problem. So why do I need an iPad, which seems to be an underpowered laptop? Well, it wasn't until I actually picked one up and started going and just seeing how instantaneous those programs, i.e. apps, were, and thinking, ooh, this is revolutionary. This is an experience that you don't have with a laptop or a desktop. This is much more immediate and intimate even. And the same thing, I think, is with the Apple Watch. And I've had the last week too. At first, there was a little bit of, there was an excitement about, okay, this is all new, even though I'm familiar with certain iOS functionality on the iPhone and the iPad. The iWatch brings it to a new experiential level. And I noticed the very first time it was sort of like, okay, let me see if I can figure this out, how I can pay for my coffee at Starbucks. I shared that with you the last time I did a video. Learning about how to do the glances and how important they are, the activity monitor and how that's motivating me to really kind of just stay on track with physical fitness. I'm like, this is awesome. This is a good thing. The heart rate monitor, which does a lot of functionality for the other applications, whether it's your exercise or activity monitor, your walking or running monitor, your workout monitor. Again, it's in a heartbeat monitor. It does a lot of really good things. It gives you a lot of good feedback. And so I just think that, to be honest with you, learning about the Apple Watch, finding new things to do. I can actually make and receive phone calls, almost like Dick Tracy. Yeah, if you're my age or older or younger a little bit, you remember good old Dick Tracy, talking into his two-way wristwatch, awesome. Well, the feature is here today. It's amazing, and so, but there are just other little things about the watch. Again, it's great to let you know when you have an appointment. Yes, you could do that with the phone, but right now I'm using the phone to make a video to you. So right now I'm not getting the notifications that I probably would if I wasn't using the phone. Anyway, the bottom line is the Apple Watch is fun. Yeah, once you get one and you start playing around with it and kind of looking into all the things that it can do. And again, this is just the first generation. That's one of the other comments as well. It's got some promise eventually, but and sure, the new iOS or Watch OS that'll be coming out in the fall will probably extend some functionality to it that it doesn't have yet, which will be fun. And again, eventually, like with all Apple products, they're going to upgrade to a new model, a new version within a year or two, and it probably will have even more astounding features. But what I would just submit in closing is simply this: is that if you're thinking about getting an Apple Watch, and if you can think of a reason that, yeah, I could probably use one, and you can afford one, well, then get one. Because again, there's a lot of wonderful little features on the watch that you'll have fun interacting with it. That's the thing. It's a lot of fun. It feels great, And a lot of times, technology right now is starting to kind of take a slump. It just is, tech. It's not exciting. It's not fun anymore. It's just, it's the latest, it's the greatest, it's faster, it has more, it's a bigger screen, all those things that people are kind of looking for. But I think they forget the fun factor. And I think the Apple Watch excels at the fun factor. So that would be my recommendation. If you wanted to look into getting an Apple Watch, I don't think you'd have any problems, having one and enjoying it and having a lot of fun getting to know your way around a new piece of fun Apple technology. So that's my recommendation. Take it or toss it. Light up your world, light up your pipe. Talk to you soon. Bye.